Hello, Galaxy. I'm Chris Pirillo, and I have the brand new iPhone 15 Pro Max case in my hands. I will be upgrading my iPhone 14 Pro Max to the iPhone 15 Pro Max for a few different reasons. There are small differences and big differences between the iPhone 14 series and the iPhone 15 series. Heck, there are big differences even between the iPhone 15 and the iPhone 15 Pro series. So the biggest difference between previous generation iPhones and the iPhones 15 is USB-C. I know that Apple is being forced to make this decision. Thank goodness. The EU basically said, no, can't sell devices without that kind of interoperability. And I would say, for the most part, I think they didn't just implement USB-C, they did it the right way, specifically in the Pro models. But iPhone 15 and iPhone 15 Plus only support transfer speeds that USB 2.0 supports, versus the iPhone 15 Pro and the Pro Max, which support USB 3.0 speeds, faster. And if you want the speed, you're probably going to want to go with a Pro Max, because you would get the speed when the need arose, specifically when you were plugging in and transferring data. I'm very glad that they went with USB Type-C. I mean, that's been long overdue, and they went the extra step, adding USB 3.0 speeds to be able to allow you to dump data directly to a computer or offload it to an external drive. They didn't need to do that, but they did, and I feel that was the right way to do it. I wish they would have done it years earlier, but that said, I feel that's probably one of the bigger changes with the iPhones 15 versus previous generations, going all the way back to, well, after the 30-pin adapter, which I know, I'm more than confident at least one person out there is still using that. The old 30-pin adapter. Who are you? Why are you doing this? In terms of color choices, you don't have a lot of variety because of titanium. It just does not handle color that well, so you either get a dark color or a white color, which is fine by me. There are slight differences between the colors that were available for the iPhone 14 Pro Max and the iPhone 15 Pro and Pro Max, but because of titanium, you don't have as wide array of a color selection, at least with the iPhone 15 Pro and the Pro Max. I'm not expecting much differences in terms of the display between the iPhone 15 Pro Max and the iPhone 14 Pro Max. There's not going to be that much of a difference, even in terms of screen brightness. Not a big improvement year over year. But the back apparently will have been improved in the iPhone 15 Pro Max, where it'll be more easily replaced, the glass that they're using on the iPhone 15 Pro and the Pro Max, compared to the iPhone 14 Pro and Pro Max, which I've never dropped. Oops. You can edit that out, right? Another big difference between the iPhone 14 Pro Max and the iPhone 15 Pro Max is the action button. Of course, you also get that in the iPhone 15 Pro, but me personally, I can only afford to get one, and so I'm going from the iPhone 14 Pro Max to the iPhone 15 Pro Max. That action button will be everything. On top of the USB-C you're getting with intercompatibility with devices you probably already have, one less cable to carry around, and another feature that works seamlessly with software and hardware, singing together in harmony the way it should be. That action button is long overdue. I don't know what you're going to map it to. The dynamic island that's coming in the iPhone 15 is going to be so much more dynamic than the dynamic island on the iPhone 14. And you know this because they incremented the iPhone version by one. So therefore, logically, it's going to be dynamic islandier. Hopefully, developers will get the memo and start developing apps that take advantage of the dynamic island. Most people are going to be focusing on the A16 Bionic versus the A17 Pro, but apparently, the A17 Pro is more like an A16 Bionic souped up slightly. I couldn't tell you why. I'm not a chiphead, but honestly, I don't really care. I'm not quite sure that a 10% gain is palpable, even with a potential 20% gain with the GPU. Maybe if you're playing games, but again, are you playing games on your phone? Is that where you play games? I'm not, admonishing you if you play games on your phone at all. Oh, I don't know if you can hear that. My daughter's crying. I'm not saying you don't play games. Of course you play games on your phone. Oh, I'm going to pay for that later. You got a 5-core GPU in the iPhone 14 Pro Max, a 6-core GPU in the iPhone 15 Pro Max, It's GPU-ier. Everybody is going to be looking forward to the camera upgrades between the iPhone 15s and the iPhone 14s, but I'm not sure I'm as excited. Yes, they've got the new non-telescope feature. I'm going by memory. Oh my God, I got it right. I tend not to remember marketing terms, but yeah, that's what it is. And the light bounces a certain way, and theoretically, you'll get better photos. But it's theoretical. Will we actually get better photos? That's the only thing I care about when it comes to cameras. I don't care about lens count. I don't care about megapixel. I don't even care about zoom. I just want higher quality photos. Point and shoot. Give them to me. Gimme, 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 gimme. Because that's the camera I'm going to be carrying with me if I'm carrying a smartphone. Of course, you got the standard emergency SOS features. Same in the iPhone 14 as the iPhone 15 to my knowledge. But you've got a different ultra wideband chip in the iPhone 15 Pro Max compared to the iPhone 14 Pro Max, which may help for discoverability, especially when you lose your devices. Battery life is going to be about the same, but another big difference, going back to the titanium, the reason why is because you would have a lighter device, and especially when you're talking about bigger phones, weight adds up. So it's going to be a little smaller, and it's going to be a little lighter. A year ago, I got the iPhone 14 Pro Max and selected the 256 gigabyte model, but I probably would have been very well served by the 128 gig model based upon how I ended up using it. Now, they no longer have, with the iPhone 15 Pro Max at least, the 128 gig model. The lowest you can go is 256. You're getting a good deal with all the speeds they're including, the USB-C 3.0 speeds, the storage being a baseline of 256 gigs, and then everything else that comes with the Pro Max. I'm not saying that the iPhone 15 Pro Max is a bargain by any stretch, but if you're like me and you sell your old devices as soon as you can to recoup the cost, it's not so much a hit on the pocketbook. The selfie camera really didn't change much, at least on the surface, but you can now record with the selfie cam, at least on the iPhone 14 Pro Max, 60 frames per second, 4K video. 4K video at 60 frames per second? Really? Wow, that's a lot. If you're a fan of the smart home, I'm not. I have a very dumb home because I live here. No, a lot of my devices are not interconnected, but the iPhone 15 Pro Max has Thread networking support. When that inevitably becomes a thing, you know, any decade now. There are certainly other differences between the iPhone 14s and the iPhone 15s, and ultimately you have to decide whether or not the features are enough for you to make that upgrade. For me, it's a no-brainer, but that's the path I usually take when it comes to devices. I am curious to know, are you getting an iPhone 15? Is it the regular iPhone 15 or the Plus? Is it the Pro or the Pro Max? Nah, seriously, leave a comment. Let me know where your head's at. I mean, maybe physically if you want, but like mentally more than anything else. I really appreciate all the support, and if you like this style of video, please let me know, and please support the endeavor because I am looking to rebuild the Locker Gnome team and looking to reestablish a video presence, not just doing videos like this with my thoughts and my opinions on technology, but beyond, and certainly infusing this style of editing. And to do that, I will need your support either as YouTube members, Patreon supporters, Discord supporters, Twitch subscribers, however you can do it. I would appreciate that because I can keep doing this if you want me to keep doing this. But I'd love to know whether or not you'd like me to keep doing this. So thanks again. I love you, I appreciate you, and at this point I'm going to leave you to your own devices. May the Force be with you, always. I wasn't recording! No, I was.